When confronted with a global network that can't be defeated by punching it, Absolute Batman faces the harsh truth presented by Alfred, that the infamous Black Mask can't be defeated with fists and fancy gadgets. Will Absolute Batman make the one choice he never wanted to make? Let's find out in Absolute Batman number 3 from DC Comics. See you in 3. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Absolute Batman number 3. Before we dig in, how about a quick recap? When last we left Bruce Wayne in Absolute Batman number 2, the Caped Crusader stepped up his efforts to uncover the identity of Black Mask and his secret agenda for the Party Animals gang. Bruce reached out to his gang of family childhood friends to get a lead on the one person capitalizing on the Party Animals' attacks. The issue ended with Absolute Batman cornered in an office building, but escaping with Alfred in the largest, slowest, and most expensive vehicle possible. So that brings us to the current issue. In Absolute Batman number 3, we begin with the continuing flashback to a time after Bruce's father's death when Selina Kyle showed Bruce attention and kindness. Their evening of roaming around the city streets, leaping over rooftops, crawling through alleyways, petting stray alley cats, and doing all the things that young adolescents are trying to do when they're trying to take their mind off their troubles. It gives Bruce a boost of courage and gives him an opportunity to remember that he has friends in this world, even if he feels completely alone. The issue cuts to the present, where we pick up with the cliffhanger from issue number 2. The Bat dump truck, or for lack of a better term, the giant-sized Batmobile, speeds through the city while evading the party animals on motorcycles. Absolute Batman gives Alfred seconds to make his case for a partnership. To avoid capture and destruction from the party animals and pursuing police cars, Bruce flips a switch that converts the Bat dump truck into a shorter version of the Bat dump truck, I guess, to give them more speed, even though technically it just really doesn't work that way. When the vehicle runs out of room at the Gotham docks, Alfred finishes his compelling case for Absolute Batman to accept Black Mask's deal. Absolute Batman ejects Alfred into the bay and drives the vehicle careening into the dark waters below, only to emerge later in an underground lair via a drainage pipe. Sometime later, maybe a day or two after all the ruckus has died down, ex-Mayor Hill brings Chief Bullock to Roman Sionis for a sweet deal that could supply Gotham City Police with vehicles and weapons to fight the party animals. So Sionis is playing both ends against each other. He's trying to come off as the rich good guy trying to help out the police, while at the same time being the source of the problem in the first place. So he's somehow trying to gain leverage in the deal, even if the circumstances of that leverage aren't quite clear. Bullock is also doubly impressed when he witnesses Sionis defeat a man twice his size in a sparring session, breaking the man's arm and leg and almost killing him. Meanwhile, Bruce looks into the information that he received from Alfred. Black Mask supposedly is heavily funded by international crime lords and cartels connected to a company that specializes in private prisons. Their latest project, Ark M, which is Ark like the Ark of the Covenant, and M as in the letter M, is the most advanced facility yet under construction by the company, and they plan to build it right in the heart of Gotham City. Get it? Ark M, Arkham? Yeah, you get it. As time progresses, the violence in the city escalates faster than Absolute Batman can fight, and his mother is now in the crosshairs after she accepts the job of deputy mayor to help support Mayor Jim Gordon's re-election bid. Bruce urges her to get out of town, but she just won't listen because she believes that good people need to stand up even in the face of overwhelming danger. The whole situation puts Bruce in a bind, and now he is forced to do the one thing he didn't want to do, which is consider Black Mask's offer to compromise. And that's the issue. Let's just talk about first impressions. Absolute Batman number 3 may be, I think, the best issue of the series to date. Don't get excited. I'm not completely sold. It's not 100% a winner in my book, but it's getting there. To be sure, Scott Snyder's over-the-top goofiness rears its wonky head, particularly with the Bat dump truck and everything around it, but the overall narrative takes on a more serious and determined tone to give readers something to think about. There's a theme here. It's developing, and it's challenging Absolute Batman with some complex ethical decisions that you don't normally see in a Batman comic. What's an Absolute Batman to do when his mission exceeds his resources or his ability to just punch it away? That's the question Snyder asks here, and answers it by the end of the issue with a hard-hitting narrative that I really, really enjoyed. It's not perfect, it's not the best thing ever, but it's definitely moving in the right direction. Without glowing too much, let's talk about the positives and the negatives, because you get some of both, and we want to see how that turns out in the score. Start with the art. Nick Dragotta's art shines in this issue by making the aforementioned chase scene a gripping one, even if it is silly and over the top and a bit ridiculous. And for also delivering hard-hitting character acting during the plethora of emotional moments that are peppered throughout the issue. There is some action. In retrospect, you do see it, but most of the issue, if you think about it, is really based on the dialogue and the character interactions. But Dragotta's style has so much personality, you're pulled into each and every moment. So even though it's dialogue heavy, it's very much about the emotions and the character interactions, you feel like you got a lot of satisfaction visually in the storytelling. All right, let's move over to the positive, starting with what's great about Absolute Batman number 3. Here is where we find the potential we've been waiting for. When faced with a global crime network, overwhelming odds, and risks to innocent people he can't protect, Bruce Wayne is forced to make an ethically painful choice. That potential is valuable because the consequences of his choices have obvious benefits, but the possibility of a monkey's paw looms large. Now you're in this locked state of anticipation, wondering how this choice will turn out, and that's the making of a great hook. He makes a choice. He has to live with the consequences of that choice. If the choice plays out well, this could mean an upgrade, if you will, or an evolution of the Absolute Batman character. But the promise of that upgrade comes with a downside that now he's sort of getting in bed with very dangerous people, and that can't be anything good for anyone in his circle of friends and family that he's trying to protect. Worse yet, the very thing he's trying to accomplish by making this choice could mean a deeper, more painful disaster for Gotham City as a whole. On a secondary note, I'm going to give Scott Snyder a little bit of additional praise here. The moments between young Bruce and Selina are as sweet and wholesome as any attempt by DC to tap into the YA market in quite a while. If you want to know how DC can do YA, young adult, if you're not familiar with YA, if you want to know how DC can do young adult well, look at how Scott Snyder does the relationship between young Bruce and Selina in this issue. You see them interacting, there's some chemistry, the beginnings of a little bit of romance, and a little bit later on, his friends come together to kind of all sort of love on him and hug him and cheer him on. That is YA gold right there. And if DC wants to do more stuff and tap into that market, they need to tap this particular example and learn from it. And with the good, there must be some bad. So let's talk about the negatives, starting with what's not great about Absolute Batman number 3. You got to give credit to Scott Snyder for the complex themes at play in this issue, but you got to take some of that credit back on two particular points. First, the over-the-top action scene in the beginning is silly, almost to the point of ridiculousness. A gigantic bat dump truck can't move fast enough to evade anyone going more than 45 miles an hour. And dropping the roof to make it sleeker to cut wind resistance, I guess is what they were going for, won't do a thing to improve the speed when the thing still weighs 16 tons. It's still too big, it's still too heavy, and it's over the top, and it's just nonsense. From a genius engineer, he should know better. Yes, the homemade jet engines help, which prop up in this issue, but the whole concept is ridiculous on its face, and you're trying to suspend disbelief, and it doesn't work. The second point is related to the entire concept related to Black Mask and the party animals. Scott Snyder is trying to build up a big mystery surrounding the party animals and the identity of Black Mask, but you'd have to be deaf, mute, and blind not to figure out Roman Sionis is Black Mask. The man is literally just walking around with this mask on his head in plain view of the bodyguards, the public, everyone else, and all the people that are around him, including his bodyguards, are also wearing black animal masks. It's not a mystery. It shouldn't take more than 2 minutes to solve. But there's bits and pieces of dialogue and language peppered in, particularly between Absolute Batman and Alfred, where they're trying to figure out the guy's identity and figure out if he's really connected to the party animals. Is Sionis really Black Mask? Of course he's Black Mask, idiot. He's standing right there wearing a black mask. You have to kind of look past it to kind of accept that Alfred is just this big, important MI6 agent and that Absolute Batman is this genius engineer. But between the two of them, somehow this is still a mystery and it doesn't make any sense. So final thoughts, what do we think about Absolute Batman number 3? It's the strongest and most gripping issue in the series so far. Scott Snyder finally confronts Absolute Batman with a problem that can't be solved with fists or gadgets, and Nick Dragotta's stylistic art makes even the quiet dialogue moments captivating. even if you find the Bat Dump Truck a step too far, I am going to recommend you pick up this issue because it is probably the best of the series. Therefore, Absolute Batman number 3 earns a 9.3 out of 10. I haven't been sold by the maximum to the extreme take on the Caped Crusader in Darkseid's universe, but this issue has my attention for what it could be. So the potential is now starting to blossom, and I'm interested to see where it goes. But what do you think? Is Absolute Batman your absolute favorite Absolute title so far, and I'm getting sick of saying the word absolute? Leave a thumbs up if you found this review helpful, and drop a comment below with which Absolute title you like better if it isn't Batman. Also, remember to click on the link in the description to read the written review, check out the variant covers and preview pages, and buy this comic to help support the channel. Your support, of course, is greatly appreciated, so thank you very much for joining, and stay tuned through the outro for more reviews just like this one.